Welcome to week 58 of my midweek musings. Um, I have been down a veritable rabbit hole of Mounjaro and mental health, and I don't have a conclusive answer. I wanted to look at this because, as you know, I mentioned the other day that I've had quite bad seasonal affective disorder this year. It's been worse this year than it's been in a long time. So I was looking for some answer to see if maybe Mounjaro had impacted it negatively. Because last year, if you remember, I reported I had the best year ever of my seasonal affective disorder. I would say I had nearly no symptoms last year, whereas this year I've got the whole kit and caboodle going on. So I wanted to see if other people had been impacted by it, and it is so confusing. For as many articles that you can find that says Mounjaro can cause mental health problems, you find others saying that there's been no real significant reports of mental health on Mounjaro. But then you look at like Reddit, don't do that. Um, you look at Reddit and other forums and TikTok and even just other vloggers that are doing it on YouTube, and some of them have been impacted. Some people have stopped taking, and it's not just Mounjaro. I'm going to say that now. It's GLP-1s, so it does include Ozempic, semaglutide, Wegovy, all of those. So it's not just restricted to Mounjaro, tirzepatide. But it's so confusing, and I don't know if I'm any better off for having looked it up or not. But what I can say is that last year I do put down my improvements in seasonal affective disorder being hand in hand with starting Mounjaro. But that could very well have been because obviously I was losing weight. I was feeling quite good. I was feeling positive. I was feeling hopeful. So maybe that fed into it quite a bit. Whereas this year, obviously now I've been on it for over a year. I've been in a calorie deficit for over a year, bar a couple of days here and there where I've sort of boosted up my calories. And I don't know, just maybe life catches up with you. It's been a hard year, like I said the other day. Things have been pretty significant with work over the last 6 months, I would say. And, life happens and, we have our ups and downs. And I'm probably one of those people that's sort of like on the mid spectrum of sort of mental health, that I can fall into low mood at times. I know everyone experiences low mood, but I would say that I'm definitely one of those people that can like tip into it. And whilst I'm always very optimistic and realistic about it in terms of myself, so what I mean by that is I've been sort of having these ups and downs probably most of my life. So I know for me, and this isn't true unfortunately for everybody, I know for me that when I get like this, I know for me it's temporary. And I know that given time, some effort, some extra rest maybe, that I'm going to get through this, that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to come out the other side. I'm going to feel better, whether that's in a few days, a few weeks, or a few months. So I am lucky, and I do recognise that in myself. But I wonder how other people deal with it, sort of deal with the mental health aspect of it. As you know, on the midweek musings, I do like to sort of go a little bit deeper on and some things, and specifically around mood, mental health, struggles, shame, all things like that, because that's been very much a part of my weight story. Not just my weight loss story, but my weight story. When I was significantly overweight, I'm now 90 pounds down from my starting Mounjaro weight. I want to lose another 10 pounds to get to a 100-pound weight loss. But when I started this and prior to that, my weight significantly impacted my mental health. So I know that, like, I suffered a great deal of shame, embarrassment, guilt. I've got a history of, overeating, binge eating, turning to food for emotional support, maladaptive coping strategies. So I had all of that coming into Mounjaro, which is one of the reasons why I started Mounjaro. I started Mounjaro because I was all out of options. I was all out of hope. I was probably in one of the darkest places I've been in. And when I say that, I mean it relatively. I don't mean, I was considering any life-changing behaviour. But I was very low, and I'd realised I'd come to a point where I'd run out of options for me because I'd tried to do it by myself and it wasn't working and things like that. So when I came into Mounjaro, I was desperate for change. I was desperate for something to work, to feel something. So obviously starting Mounjaro in the October, so my lowest was maybe September, I would say. And then I started 1st of October 2024. So when I came into it, I was so desperate and low and just needing something that when I started, and then I had like a couple of weeks weight loss, I started to feel good. There's a part of me that still feels very strongly that Mounjaro boosted my mood, boosted my hormones, my brain. I don't know. Obviously the GLP-1, and then there's the GIP in Mounjaro. I felt that had a positive impact on my brain, my thinking, my overall outlook. And you can see that in some of my earlier videos that I'm really enjoying the journey. Still reflective, but enjoying the journey and feeling like it's making a big difference to me. And like I said, a couple of months in, or a couple of, good, maybe 2 months in, I was thinking, crikey, my seasonal affective disorder isn't really getting to me this year. And I know it because I get very tearful on it, like I mentioned the other day, for no apparent reason. I just feel sad and tearful and a bit sort of lost and lonely and hopeless and things. And I didn't have that last year. And I don't know if that was starting a vlog and coming on here and talking about things and reading all of your positive, supportive comments and finding like-minded people, my tribe kind of thing. But I don't have that this year, sadly. I have my tribe. I have you lovely people who were very, very kind to me in the comments, and many of you sort of echoing what I was saying, that you struggle with seasonal affective disorder as well. It is a bit of a drag having seasonal affective disorder. I mean, obviously everyone gets maybe a little bit down in the winter time, but seasonal affective disorder is just that one stage further on, where it impacts you a little bit more. But so many of you sort of commented as well. And the good thing with seasonal affective disorder is it is seasonal, and I do know that I will get over this hump. I will get over this blip and I will feel better. It's like the old analogy about when it's cloudy, the sun hasn't gone away. The clouds have just covered it up. So when I talk about my mental health and, feeling low and maybe low mood, depressed, things like that, I do know the sun is still there. And I do know that eventually, for me, like I said, it doesn't apply to everybody. Some people need more help. For me, I know that the clouds will part one day and the sun will shine again. So I'm lucky for that. But like I said, the research seems to be really confusing. And I was hoping for a bit more, I don't know, a bit more of a definitive answer about Mounjaro. What does seem to be a thing? And my friend said it to me. She said she was feeling more anxious on Mounjaro than she normally does. And I don't think I've had that. I would say I have more of a low mood thing than an anxiety thing. But But yeah, she said she found anxiety that she was very anxious. And actually, from the articles and the research that I was doing, that does seem to be something that they can relate to Mounjaro. And I can't say I understand enough about why that is the mechanism that it would create. But I suppose if it's interfering with your brain chemicals, then it could have that impact. But it does seem to say that it goes away after a period of time. But I've also seen other people, like I said, that have said that they've had to stop Ozempic or Mounjaro because it has made their mood so low. And I don't know if it's a combination thing, because as you know, as I've told you a million times, how fatigued I am. And so the fatigue has been a big thing for me since the beginning. So you've got fatigue, you've got calorie deficit for over a year for me, and you've got kind of like the initial high has worn off. So maybe that's why this year I'm feeling a bit more impacted by the SAD than normally. I don't know. I am still on my light, my SAD lamp. I use that every day for at least an hour. I take omega-3 fish oils because I've read that that can help you. I stay on top of my vitamin D levels. I know my vitamin D levels and they are optimal. And the reason I do that is because I'm aware that that can impact it. Thank you to Karen, who did mention that to me in the comments and said to check them. I am a huge proponent of making sure that your vitamin D is at the right level, because that can impact on your mental health. What else do I do? Like I said, I try and get sunlight where possible. I journal quite a lot, get my feelings out on paper, because you don't have to self-censor on paper. You can just put anything, you can swear and rant and rave and sort of, kick out at the world and life and everything, and only you have to read it. And I try and reach out to friends. I try and come on here. This is the second time I'm recording this, because when I looked back or I started to edit the other one, it was a bit doom and gloom. And whilst I do try and share my true, authentic self with you, I realise there is a point at which it becomes a bit drony, draggy, and depressing. And the last thing I want to do is to send you into a depression or low mood. So I'm re-recording it, not to put a more positive spin on it, but just to recognise and keep it proportionate and balanced. Because like I said, it's so conflicting, the information I've read today. And I did come on here sort of wanting to sort of offer a resolution and things like that. I think my only resolution, for you would be, if you feel that your mental health has been significantly impacted by Mounjaro and you are struggling where you haven't struggled before. So for me, like I said, I've had a lifetime of ups and downs, not too significant, but enough to impact on my life. But if this is something new for you, then maybe you do need to question if Mounjaro has a hand in it. I don't think there's anything directly saying that Mounjaro causes depression in a lot of people, but we're still relatively new in the game. And I think we might be in better position 2 years down the road. But for now, it is something that we do need to be mindful of. And if you are impacted, one, you need to tell your provider, whoever that is. And two, you need to reach out to your GP to see if there's anything that they can do to support you. Definitely, if you're within the UK, all areas of the country have a no-cost primary care mental health. There is usually a bit of a waiting list, but very often they can offer you a group to go on while you're waiting to go face to face. And the groups can be quite beneficial. As you know, I used to work in mental health, and I used to work for one of those mental health organisations that can offer you sort of free treatment. And that's where funnily enough, that's where I was first diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, because we were running a group on it. This is many, many years ago. We were running a group on it, and we had been given lights like sad lamps and omega-3 fish oils and vitamin D to hand out as part of the group, because these were known to have an impact. And we asked everybody to journal each day how they were feeling, how much sunlight they got, how long they spent with a sad lamp, and just to journal down how, out of 10, how was your mood today? And then we'd review it in the group and talk about it, and people would raise any concerns that they had or how it's impacting on their life. So yeah, if you're in the UK and you really are struggling, do speak to your GP or speak to your GP surgery, because very often there are in-house mental health practitioners that can help you as well. Okay, so that's something for the UK. I don't know in the US if there is something similar, but obviously there are mental health organisations, private therapists, all different things that you can reach out to. And don't forget, there's self-help books, there's stuff on YouTube, there's, all different kinds of resources, your library. Sometimes there are just talking groups where you can go and talk about your problems with like-minded people, kind of like an AA or an NA type thing. Not like that, obviously, but a group where you can all share your concerns. So it is worth looking into and thinking about, and reaching out to friends and family. If there is a friend that is more upbeat or very supportive, try and talk to them as well. But I do think it's important to say, if you do feel that you have been impacted, you should do something about it, because you don't want it to get worse. Seasonal affective disorder is it's a very set thing, and it doesn't tend to then go into depression. It can, but it is usually a time limited. So come spring, I know I'm going to start to feel better. I'm going to be a bit more positive. I'm going to have a bit more energy. I'm going to want to go out for more walks and spend more time outside. Whereas the opposite side of that in September, whole different ball game. September, I automatically feel a bit weepy. It's like the 15th of September comes, mid-September comes, and I feel a bit weepy. And then I'm like, oh, here it comes, time to dig out the lamp. So yeah, my original intention here today had been to sort of come on and, talk about mental health, Mounjaro, how it's impacted me and things like that. But it's really difficult, because I was looking for something that would point me in the right direction to say whether, how I'm feeling now is Mounjaro related or is not Mounjaro related. All I can say, my own conclusion is, I think that Mounjaro is a contributing factor for me, but it's not the sole significant factor. And that's not to say it might be for some people, but for me, it's like I said, it probably plays a part, but it's not the biggest part. As you know, I'm doing everything, I'm throwing everything at it. And I do think that when you have a good day, you maximize your good day. If you're having a bad day, I think maybe you just need to go to bed early, read a book, do something nurturing, have a bath. Somebody recommended an Epsom salts bath. That's a really good one. Have a bath, go for a massage, do something that you enjoy doing, something that's nurturing to you. If you like gardening, although it's pretty grim here, if you like gardening or you like forest walks or things like that, do something that's going to benefit you. And like I said, try not to isolate yourself too much, because, the dark days of winter, we all tend to sort of hunker down and stay home a bit more. But actually reaching out to friends and having a good chat over a coffee or going out for a brisk walk together or something like that can really help. So for me, and thank you so, so much for all of your comments, that they are so helpful and they're so normalizing for me. Sometimes because I live on my own, I do find it hard to often think that I'm not the only person struggling with something. And so when I read your comments, it does really normalize it for me and makes me realize that I'm not an oddball, I'm not an anomaly. Other people are feeling like this. And it just reminds me that for me, this is a temporary thing and I'll get over it. But I also, like I said, I play my part and I work really hard at maintaining a balance in my mental health. And on some of those days, that does mean going to bed early, like I said, with a book, not screens, not social media, not scrolling, and or journaling. I do find that very cathartic. So, but how has your mental health been? Have you noticed a difference? Have you noticed an improvement? Has it changed from when you started to where you are now? Like I said, I'm at week 58. So I'm very much in this Mounjaro process. I'm getting towards my target of a £100 weight loss. So I'm hopeful about that, mindful about the fact that we're headed into the depths of the deep, dark winter, but also optimistic about my future. And ultimately, Mounjaro has given me so much more than it's taken away, if it has taken away anything. And I need to keep that in balance. I need to keep that proportionate, that I feel so much healthier. I feel so much more in my body, in my self, how I feel I should be. And I think I said a couple of weeks ago, I feel like the me I was supposed to be. And that's not just weight loss. That is because, we've talked about things. I've journaled about things. I've reflected on the past. I can see my future. I have plans to stick with this and try and be as healthy as I can. It's brought about a new awareness of health and benefits and what I want from my life. And what I want from my life is to be more healthy, to be more active, to do more, to feel more, to see more, to enjoy more. And I feel positive about that. So even in the darkest moments, I can reflect on that and recognize that I've come so far. I'm so pleased with the person I'm becoming. And it's not over yet. There's more to come. I'm even cheering myself up actually as I'm talking about this. So, but yeah, it's not this blip, this small temporary moment in time is just a stage in my journey. And that's why we talk about it being a journey, not a trip. Trip is A to B. A journey, it's this meandering off the path, on the path, setbacks, go back to, not go back to the beginning, but, there'll be temporary pauses and things like that. We know this. And so that's why, even though it's really trite and, it chokes me every time I hear the word journey coming out of my mouth, it is a journey. And it's a journey I'm really enjoying. And even if I can't see it just at the moment, I know ultimately I've done the right thing because it's not having a significant negative impact on me, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to balance out. This is normal for me. Maybe this is just a bad year for me. And it doesn't mean that Mounjaro has caused it. It's maybe 10, 20% of the problem, but it's not the only problem. So before I start repeating myself, I'm going to leave it at this. And this is the other thing. As you can see, I'm kind of not forcing myself to be upbeat, but I am choosing to be more upbeat which can actually impact your mood positively. When you act in a certain way, it can actually make your mood improve. So if you act a bit gloomy, doomy, depressed, it can have a more negative impact. Whereas if you get up and you kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing, it can positively impact you. So that's worth remembering as well. Doesn't always work. Like I said, there are some people that have very significant mental health problems, and I'm not speaking to those people because, that would just be making too light of a situation. There are people that do need additional help and support, medication, treatment, etc. And I can't talk to them. I don't know enough about it, and I wouldn't trivialize it so much as to say, just put a smile on your face. But if it is just like a low grade, kind of like low mood type thing, you can push through, you can try harder. And that's what I'm trying to tell myself to do. So anyway, take this with a grain of salt. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And maybe you don't have any mood changes since you started Mounjaro. Maybe your only significant side effect has been weight loss or nausea or constipation. God, that'd give you depression, wouldn't it? Anyway, I will be back on Saturday for my weigh-in. And yeah, hopefully I will continue to improve on my mood. If you do have anything to add to this, you want to talk about your mood, how it's affected you, please do leave me a comment. Please do think about giving me a thumbs up, like, and of course, subscribe, because it does help the channel. I'm currently at about 1,800 and my goal is to try and get to 2,000 by Christmas. I don't know if that's achievable. That's just like a little Christmas gift to me, is if I can make it to 2,000. But yeah, that's just something that I've set myself as a mini goal. So if you can help me towards that, that would be amazing. Anyway, I will see you on the other side. I will see you in the comments. And like I said, I'll be back on Saturday for the weigh-in. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.